Welcome to TTMCast One-on-One with Jeff Baker. Every Wednesday, we'll bring one-on-one interviews with hobby professionals, former athletes, authors, and collectors. Sponsored by Certified Sports Guarantee. Go to csgcards.com for sports card grading for the win. And by sportscollectorsdaily.com. If it happens in the hobby, you'll find it on sportscollectorsdaily.com. And sponsored by GemRate.com. The latest grading statistic from the 4 major grading companies is just a click away. Visit GemRate.com. It's free. Sponsored by Collects, the free app for scanning and valuing your cards. Use the app to build your collection and buy and sell with other collectors. Turn the hobby into your side hustle. And now, here's our host, Jeff Baker.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to TTMcast. You are listening to TTMcast One-on-One. It is Wednesday, August 2nd. Drew, we're in August. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this is just, it's
didn't July just fly by?
It did, yeah. I mean, it seems like just yesterday I was saying they're like, well, it hasn't hit 100 degrees yet. Now it hasn't gotten below 100 degrees. So,
no, you poor guy. My name is Jeff Baker. I am talking to you from Boston, Massachusetts, and joined by my friend and co-host from Austin, Texas. His name is Drew Pelto. He is DFW Grapher on YouTube and on Twitter. He will not go on Threads, and we understand that, so we will not hold that against him. But he is he posts all the time. And he is a content creator. You wrote a great article for Sports Collectors Daily on the 1972 set. And did you just do high numbers? You just high numbers, right?
Yeah, just did it on the high numbers for that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it was a great article. Make sure you check that out. He also posts videos just about every week on his TTM successes. Do you have a new one up this week?
Not yet. I'm working on it right now. Should have that up probably later today, somewhere around there. So, yeah.
Well, it's good to see you haven't melted.
Yeah, somehow I am still in one piece that is not a puddle either. So, yeah, managing to stay alive. And yeah,
I've seen demonstrations of people like putting eggs out, a frying pan and eggs and frying eggs right in the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. Have you done that yet?
I haven't. I've thought about that, though, but we don't really, because the problem here is that, the sun rises off to toward the back of my apartment. So I don't have a way to put it out on the steps or anything like that, and it won't get any sun on it until mid-afternoon. So it's I don't know. I don't know if I'll try it out or not, but I just about could at this point.
Well, the thing is, if you live in Massachusetts or Maine or Green Bay in the winter, right? Everyone takes that bottle of water and throws it up, and then it freezes. You've seen that?
Yep. Oh yeah, I have.
So that's the two things, right? When it's really cold, you throw the water out and it freezes and disappears, and when you're hot, you try to fry an egg on the sidewalk. And I've seen it happen. And, they were doing it in Phoenix and they do it in Dallas. And Drew, it can't be 107 degrees when I go there next year. It cannot.
I unfortunately, I don't control this. They never ask me, or else it would never get above 95 if they asked me, but well, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. It is 67 and sunny today, right now.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, we're not going to give a weather report every week, but Drew lives in Dallas Fort Worth area, and it's friggin' hot. I feel bad for him, and it's
Satan's butthole here. This is crazy right now. I'm trying to think when the last time it was like this a bit in 2018. So I remember right before I went on my first big baseball road trip, it was 108 for the week before that, and at the time I was still working in the office, and I had to wear long pants every day. And so right on top of that, too, there was a baseball game over in Grand Prairie. They had a couple of guys whose autographs I wanted to go and get. So going out there in long black pants in 108-degree weather and getting autographs is not exactly fun.
That's not smart, my friend.
It definitely made it a lot better once we got on the road and on the trip there. And I don't think it was ever over 100 the entire time we did that because, we got out of Texas, so that's why.
Does Jen work from home, or is she going into an office?
No, she goes to an office every day, so she's got to deal with the heat coming out of there.
I was gonna say, at least you can stay in the house, but
yeah,
you feel like you're getting cooped up because it's just so hot you can't do anything. You got to go out at night, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to think when the last time I left the apartment was, because we're here on Wednesday morning. The last time I would have gone out was probably sometime on Saturday. So it's
wow,
it's been a while.
Okay, I'm going to commiserate with you. I do like the heat, but I lived in Phoenix for a while, so I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Same thing. Well, guys, we have a fun show for you. I just got back from the National last week or 2 weeks ago. I spoke with Pat Hughes. Pat Hughes played for the Giants, New York Giants, and the New Orleans Saints in the NFL. He is went to Boston University, played on the last Boston University team, the only Boston University team that made a bowl. So we talk a little college with Pat. We also talk his time in the NFL. So that is coming up. I just want to remind everyone, Drew, this thing is going gangbusters. I met with Ted down at the National. They're so happy with the response from our listeners, and guys, keep it up. We have a $10 coupon exclusively for TTMcast listeners. Make sure it's really easy. All you have to do is download Collects in the Apple, it's in the Apple Store, right? In the Apple Store or on Google Play. Doesn't cost you anything. And then they'll send you a $10 coupon or credit that you can use in their marketplace. Have you used your credit yet?
I haven't. I tried to put in there were a few cards on there I needed, and I contacted the sellers and never heard anything.
Okay, that's weird.
So I don't know what's going on with those.
I got 3 cards.
But yeah, I found some Boris Salmon cards that I needed. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'd interested in buying these, and clicked the buy it or whatever kind of thing is on there, and never heard anything. It says, after you buy it, says, okay, yeah, message the dealer to, get info for payment and all that stuff. And I messaged them and never got anything. So I'm like, okay, this is messed up. Now it says, offer expired.
Send me the name of the buyer and I'll send it off to Ted.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you know. I can look it up here in a bit. Yeah.
All right, cool. So guys, but you get a $10 coupon. All you have to do is sign up for Collects, download it, send us your Collects username and your email address in an email, and we will send that off to Collects, and they'll issue a $10 coupon. We're getting probably, 5 to 8 a week, which is pretty good, I think.
Nice.
So guys, if you want a free $10, and it's pretty easy to redeem, just send it to
TTMcast@yahoo.com.
and we'll get you a $10 coupon. Well, as I said, I just got back from Chicago, had a great time. It was hot as Hades for the first couple days. It was really hot in the show. They had some problems, I guess, with the air conditioning or something. But at the end of the day, I think the first 2 days it was hot, and then the last couple of days was fine. It was fine. It cooled down in Chicago, and it was really, all in all, I really like Chicago as a location. All the restaurants are right there. The facility is big enough for to hold everything. It was so big. There was so many vendors and so many deals. It took a good 3.5 to 4 days to go through everything because there was just so much stuff,
Yeah.
But it was good. So I picked up a ton of cards. I got a lot of autograph cards. I got a bunch of autographs through the VIP thing. It was nice to see Marcel Dion and Bob Lilly and BJ Armstrong at the VIP event, and the lines weren't that long. There were a lot of people there, but it was, I got all my stuff signed for the 3 of the guys. It wasn't too bad. And then the getting the autographs at the show, again, there was a lot of people there, but they kept it moving, and it wasn't too bad to get the autographs. And then in terms of purchasing, I purchased a ton of stuff. Clemente and I spent about 2 hours one day going through the dollar hockey autographs. So
nice.
I pulled a bunch of Bruins, he pulled a bunch of Rangers, and we pulled some other ones that he was looking for. So we had fun doing that. And I got a bunch of Red Sox autographs, and I got 4 or 5 Celtic cards that I needed. I picked up a 2002 unopened box of Bowman baseball for $40.
Oh, wow. That's good.
And they go for like $100 to $120. So I was very happy about that. I picked up a box of 1990 Topps hockey for like $10. And I got I got a Fred Lynn autograph baseball. I was very happy about that. I got some autograph pictures. It was fun. It was a good time. Probably spent too much money, ate too much food. Got to see a ton of listeners. We saw tons of listeners. Came up. I had my TTMcast stuff on, and we saw tons of listeners. Gave out all my t-shirts. I have 1 t-shirt left, so I gave out all my TTMcast t-shirts. So we're empty on t-shirts, guys. I have to put in a second order so we can give away some t-shirts to more listeners, but I gave away tons of t-shirts to listeners. As I said, I saw Ted, I saw Suze from CGC. I saw just you name it. I saw a lot of the people that we had on the show. So all in all, it was a good time. And again, I like Chicago. They're voting on 2025, I think, and it was down to Atlantic City, Atlanta, and Chicago, and they're going to let people know in September where they chose for 2025, I think.
26, 25 is
26.
definitely going to be Chicago again.
Yeah, so 20 next year will be in Cleveland, 25 will be in Chicago, and then 26 they're voting on. So there's a new management team that is starting next year, and we'll see what changes they bring to the national. And it's always nice to get new blood in, and it's it's a good show. We missed you.
Yeah. I wish I could have gone there, but I mean, I'm hoping maybe I can fly into Cleveland next year, and at the very least, I'm definitely doing 2025 in Chicago. So we'll get out there for that one.
How far is your dad from the convention center? Is he pretty far?
About an hour away. He's it's kind of like the exact opposite side of Cleveland from where he lives, because the airport is down in kind of the southwestern part there, right around it's at the airport there, southwestern part there, kind of. And then my dad is up northeast of Cleveland, so it's kind of like half an hour from his place to downtown, then half an hour from downtown to the IX Center there. So yeah, it's about an hour total away there. But anytime that I'm usually up there, I'll try to, usually get a couple days in at least to see him.
But you probably won't stay with him. You'd have to get a hotel near the convention center.
Right. Yeah. I mean, last time that I was out there for a show, it was Aaron and I stayed over in Macedonia, which is about half an hour. It's closer to Akron actually than it is to Cleveland, but it's easy freeway access. So it's like a half hour out to the show every day. And then when I went to the 2014 show, I was at one of the airport hotels. So it was a 10-minute drive at most each day.
Yeah, Cleveland's a little more spread out, right? Because Chicago, basically, everyone was in the kind of walking distance to the convention center. There's a ton of hotels there, and we were at the Embassy Suites, which is actually connected to the convention center. The first day on Wednesday, it rained, so we used the tunnels, but other than that, we just walk across the street. It was fine. They broke records. Over 100,000 people was the biggest show in terms of attendance. There was 600,000 plus square feet of vendor booth space, and I think they had over 700 vendors. So it was crazy.
Yeah, that sounds great. Wow, but. Yeah, the thing with Cleveland, I mean, you said, you could walk there from Chicago. Cleveland, you have to drive. There is nothing that's within walking distance, there,
right?
Unfortunately, but
yeah,
parking is ample there, and there's a lot of stuff that's within a short drive at least.
One day, I left the show early and I went to the pool with Paula at the hotel, and there was just me and Paula, and this other guy was there, and he happened to be from Cleveland. He was scouting out the show for Cleveland and getting ideas, and he was meeting with dealers and stuff. So they've made a lot of changes to the IX Center. Is that what it's called? Yeah, they made a lot of changes. Remember they had that Ferris wheel? They moved the Ferris whell.
Yeah, I heard they unfortunately moved that out, which is too bad. But yeah, I mean it's
well, they still have it.
Though,
they still have it.
Okay.
It's just not right in the middle of the floor,
Okay, well. As long as it's still up and running, that would be cool. If not,
it is. They did not get rid of it.
That's good. That's good then, because I had heard that they were just completely getting rid of it. And it's like, oh, come on, man, that's one of the big draws there. But
yeah, no,
it's still there. That's good. Then
they just moved it to add extra exhibit space.
It's probably smart. I mean, having it right in the dead center there, it's like, that's wasting a little bit of space there for sure.
Yeah. Well, how was your week? Have you been buying any cards, or did you go out and do some graphing this past weekend?
Didn't do any graphing at all. The team that was coming in Cleburne was one that I didn't really need anything for, so I didn't bother going for them. I think, was that this week? It's all kind of running together right now.
No, I know. We missed Saturday's show, so we're
and I know I didn't do any graphing at all. I don't think. I'll let everyone know Saturday what I did this weekend, because I don't think this was a graphing week at all. Now that I think about it, but. I did at least do a lot of trading, and well, maybe not a lot of trading, but at least a little bit of trading. I got all of my stuff photographed and ready to show off easily, so it's hopefully we'll make some trades easier from that.
Oh, nice.
But also, I did make a purchase from a Facebook group. A guy posted a whole bunch of stuff at very reasonable price, and had I been quicker, I would have gotten a second card there. He had a Ty Domi one. It was Domi, McSorley, and somebody else, and it was like $7 for the group of the three of them. And had I been quicker, I'd been boom, done. I'll take that. I'll take that one. But literally, as I posted on another one that I'd buy that one, I got over that one. Somebody had beat me by like a minute and a half, unfortunately. So I missed out on that. But for $5, I got Yari Curry. There,
Nice.
which is great because I mean he was not exactly a good signer when he was a player. He had a habit of smearing stuff. He would never TTM at all, and he still doesn't TTM. The last time I saw him do a private signing, I think it was like $50 just for cards. So I had never had a Curry autograph. When I saw this one up there for $5 and it compared well to all the other ones I was looking at, it's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and grab that one. So scoop that up and got it in.
What card is that? Who?
That is the 94-95 Parkhurst set. So it was when he was still playing for the Kings there. So after his big days there, but yeah, he was already 500 goal scorer and 1,000 point guy by that point. But yeah, he's tough one to get. Best Finnish player of all time before Teemu Selanne came along. So super happy to add this one in. It's the first Curry autograph I've gotten. Now I just need to find an affordable signing that he does so I can get my rookie card signed by him and be all done with him then at that point.
He doesn't go up to Montreal or Toronto? Not
that I've seen. I think he lives back over in Finland now. I think he actually works with one of the teams over there. So probably just sticks around there. I know he's done a signing at some point recently, but like I said, it was like $50 for cards, which it's like he's good, but he's not quite $50.
Right, $50 for cards is something.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. But yeah, I got that. I got my stuff ready to go for the next few sessions. I'm hopefully going to try to get out to Frisco this weekend for their game against Midland now that JT Ginn is active and I need him for my heritage set. So I'll try to brave the heat and go out there if I can.
Cool.
And also on Saturday, going down to the Rangers and Marlins game. A friend of mine is going to be in town. So he said, hey, let's hit up a game. And I'm like, all right, sure. I'll pull my Marlins stuff and see if I can get anything done there, but not counting on a whole lot. And unfortunately, the alumni signer for Saturday is Brian Holiday. So it's like, I have nothing on him. I mean, he was a major leaguer for maybe I think it was like 7 teams across like 4 seasons. And I mean, yeah, he was with the Rangers for a little bit, but he's mostly around here because he's from Dallas and he played at TCU. So like I could go and get that, like a 3x4 promotional photo signed, but I'm probably not going to bother with it. I'm just going to go and see what I can get down at the field there if they even take BP, which they probably won't. And then, hope for the best.
Do you like the trades that they made?
No comment on the Rangers. Honestly, I want to see them fall flat on their face so I can watch every single freaking Rangers fan in this area cry throughout all of October. $800 million this team spent combined across 2 off seasons. And right now they're half a game up on the Astros.
Yeah.
They had to go out and throw a bunch of money around and 3 prospects to go and get Scherzer, whose arm usually falls off before October gets here. Got a middle of the rotation guy in Jordan Montgomery, an average bullpen arm, and a backup catcher.
I like Montgomery.
Yeah, he's a middle of the rotation guy. I mean, that's just
right now, considering if the Red Sox got him, he'd be the top of the rotation guy.
Yeah, true. I mean, considering all of the Rangers' injuries right now, he's basically going to be their number 2 starter. But yikes, he may be a decent mid-rotation guy, but if you're relying on him to be your number 2, not good. But no, I want to see the Rangers fans all crying throughout October. So that's what I'm hoping for there. I do like the Guardians moves there. Syndergaard was, Syndergaard's a decent product.
They got him for nothing, really.
Right, yeah. I mean, they gave up, what's his name, Rosario to get him. Rosario is, he's kind of a redundancy at this point. He's the worst fielding shortstop out of like the 6 shortstops they have on their roster. And his bat doesn't make up enough for that. It's a decent hitter, but not great. So, ship him out, get a piece, and you can give more playing time now to Arias, to Freeman, to a Brian Rocchio in the next year or so. And then what else? They got rid of Josh Bell's albatross of a contract, which is great. I mean, he's been a total bust since they signed him.
What do you think of Savalas trading him?
I love the Savale deal. The Guardians have been great about trading pitchers right before they need to, basically. So I'm hoping that it continues here again. And they've gotten a good return on him. I mean, Kyle Manzardo is one of the top 50 prospects in baseball right now. Yep. Good kid when I met him last year, too. So, I've got high hopes on him. I'm hoping that he'll be he's probably the first baseman of the future for this team there. Because, I mean, you just dumped Bell's albatross of a contract. You've got, what's his name? Naylor there right now, but he's only signed through 2025. He'll get a huge deal, I'm sure. So he probably won't be sticking around for long. So you got to have somebody ready to take over there. And they didn't, and now they do.
Yeah, Naylor's not a great fielding guy either, right? He's
better off, I think, as a DH.
as a DH.
I mean,
I agree.
He used to be a corner outfielder too, and I'm like, when I saw him playing out there in the minors, then again with the Guardians, I'm just like, why? You can't be that desperate to get his bat in the lineup. I mean, no, but he's been, I mean, yeah, he's a terrible fielder at first, good bat at least, so he's definitely more of a DH type. But okay, so yeah, I mean, you bring him, if you're able to sign him long term after 2025, you DH him, you play a Manzardo at first, you're good to go.
Did you hear about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and rookie cards?
I know his price on them is ridiculous through his website. But
Well, what they did, listen to this one. You're gonna love this one, right? They had his agent and a couple other people there, and the price was whatever it was to get Kareem's autograph. But if you wanted to get an autograph on a rookie card, they basically graded the card and then determined the price of the autograph by the grading of the card. So, and it wasn't the agent was grading it, nobody else. So you'd bring a lot of people were cracking the slabs that they had. They had Kareems that were 4s and 5s, and they would bring it to the table and they were saying, "Oh, that's an 8 or that's a 9."
I figure as soon as you said that, I'm thinking, okay, so somebody's going to walk up there with one that's like oval shaped basically, and they'll go, "That's a 7.5 right there."
Yep. Jeez. So it was a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, and and it wasn't cheap. It was, hundreds of thousands of dollars as you got up to 8, 9s and 10s. So, I guess Kareem is ill. I think he has cancer. So he's not going to be doing too many more signings. And, he was there for 2 days. He signed, and I know he stayed late on Saturday. He stayed until 7:00 on Saturday signing. But the lines they weren't moving because everyone was 20 minutes to sign it before they determined what he was going to sign and where he was going to sign it, and it was just it was too bad.
Yeah, geez.
All right, buddy, I think we got all our housekeeping done. What do we got? Batting leadoff.
It is Hobby Happenings.
Let's get the show started. Leading off, we look at hobby happenings.
Smart collectors turn to Sports Collectors Daily to stay up to date. From new releases to incredible collections hitting the auction block, news from inside the business of sports collectibles, and much more, Sports Collectors Daily has it, all with no subscription cost. SC Daily also delivers a live look at the most watched sports card auctions on eBay for every sport. Sign up to get the headlines in your email for free, or just visit the website whenever you like. With 16,000 stories in the archive going back 16 years, there's always plenty to read at sportscollectorsdaily.com.
Happenings. Well, not a lot of stuff going on in the hobby. I think everyone was tied to the national. All the companies were tied to that. There's not much going on in the auction world. One big news that happened right at the national was Connor Bedard has signed officially with Upper Deck, which is great. He is going to be he's going to help hockey cards. I think I hope he's the player, because there's a lot of excitement in the hobby. There was a lot of talk of Connor Bedard, and it seems like he's gonna bring the interest to hockey cards. I think this winter, don't you think?
I think so. I mean, it seems to be the biggest, most hyped prospect we've seen in a while here in the hockey world, because you've had a few that have come in, like Alexis Lafreniere was big for a very short time and just hasn't really quite panned out, but. Also, hockey is a world where you haven't really seen that many number 1 overall picks go bust either. So it's a guy like Bedard is almost a sure thing, it seems like. I mean, the last true bust of a number 1 I can think of is like Patrick Steffen, maybe. So it's been a while. So I think it's a smart move for Upper Deck to sign him. It's great to announce that in Chicago, where he's going to be playing. So yeah, good for them. And I think he's going to be the next big thing for hockey cards for sure.
Yeah, one of the booths that had the Fanatics, the game, quality sweaters, and I got a Chicago Blackhawks one. They just said Chicago Blackhawks, but they were selling for $25.
Wow,
thing's nice. It's gorgeous.
Cool.
So that was one of the cool pickups. Hey, we got some grading numbers last week in July.
We do indeed. We'll have hopefully the monthly numbers soon as well, but just for the final week of the month, everybody's down a little bit, but I'm sure there's some, pre-national stuff going on to bring all that stuff down. So
yeah, I'm sure they were all folk, I'm sure they all the grading companies had people at the site grading cards. Yep. So I'm sure at the end of the week they weren't grading anything.
Yeah, they had to get out there, and I'm sure. I mean, collectors probably aren't going to want to send in a whole ton either. It's like, yeah, we'll wait and pick up some stuff in the National, and then do a big bulk sending after that. So, PSA down 6%, 270,000 cards still graded by them though, so still a very busy week out there. SGC 19,200 cards. That is a 19% drop. Beckett saw a 13% drop, 14,400 cards, and CGC a 36% drop, 14,600 cards.
Yeah, CJC had a great booth. They had Miss Pac-Man and skee ball and all sorts of stuff. The kids were winning prizes, tokens and stuff, and then they could get cards or discounts on grading and all stuff. They did a great job. Beckett had a huge booth as well. So did SGC. PSA, of course, they were swamped. So it was grading is grading, and they all the four major grading companies were grading cards at the site. And I know CGC had an offsite, they had a grading. What they were doing is they were taking the stuff in, but they must have had a ballroom or something that they had people grading cards, because they were turning them around pretty quickly. So very, very cool. So a lot of grading happening at the National. We have some new releases coming this week. Score 2023 football. The first 2023 football is out. And they're going to have this 40 cards per pack, this 10 packs per box. So it's pretty good. There's a lot of cards. You get 4 autographs. I haven't seen the price on those yet, but those are usually, what do they usually run? A couple $100?
Yeah, usually for jumbo box. I know when I bought a hockey one about 10 years ago, it was a little over 100. So I bet right now probably about 200 or so, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so those are coming out now. For this, the first release for 2023 football. So bravo for Panini to get the score out right before the season starts.
Got a Panini soccer release coming out as well for 22-23. The Obsidian soccer set is going to be making its way out. You get 1 pack of 7 cards, but out of those 7, you get 4 autos or memorabilia cards. No price tag on that one either. It's one of those kind of mid to high end products there though, but a lot of good stuff in there if you're going to get 4 autos or mem cards in it.
Yeah, those are nice looking cards. Obsidian is nice looking cards. Well, we have 2023 Panini Legacy NFL is coming out. You get 12 packs in a box, 8 cards per pack, 2 autos, and those are going to go for about $180. So maybe the score will be a little less, right? Because score is kind of the low end one. So maybe the scores will be $150. I'm guessing.
That'd be nice. If it's 150, I might go and grab a box. Then
those I like them. They're nice cards.
Yeah. Panini's Select Draft Picks football is coming out as well. You can see 15 cards per pack in there, 3 packs in a box, and 3 autographs in there as well. $150 on that, so not too bad a price there for 45 cards with 3 autos in it.
Yeah, we have 2022-23 Panini Chronicles are out. I think that's basketball, right, Drew?
Yes, I believe so.
That's basketball. Yeah, we get 8 cards per pack, six packs per box. You get 2 autos, and that's going for $250. That's 2022-23 Panini Chronicles for $250.
Topps Chrome Baseball making its way out as well. The blasters will run you $35. In those, you're going to see 7 packs of 4 cards, but get a few refractors in there, 2 sepia and 2 pink refractors in each of those blaster boxes. So cool stuff to go along with that.
Yeah, I got them Fanatics online. They're available on Fanatics online for $35. I have them sitting right here that I haven't opened yet. Having the time to, I have so many cards to put away. I didn't want to start doing. Oh, it's funny. I was in I forgot to tell you this. I was in one of the breaker areas, and the guy was breaking a case of Series 2, Top Series 2, 2023. And I just walked by, and I was like, "What are you gonna do with all those?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm gonna throw them away." You gonna throw them away? I'll take them.
Yeah.
So I got a case of 2023 Series 2 Topps baseball cards. So if you need any, I probably have a set. I probably have a set. I completed my set, and I have a box. Basically, it was a case. I got all the base cards.
Nice.
So it's pretty good.
I have never understood why breakers just throw that stuff away. If I'm going to be buying a team on there, I still want all of the base from that team too. I mean,
it was sad. I had this big box, like this big, right? Yeah. On my lap, on my chair, and then we had to get it in the airplane.
Oh,
but I took it. It was pretty good. So I actually went through them yesterday. I needed about, 16 or 17 cards to finish that set. So I finished my set, and then they left some inserts in there as well. So it was a great deal. But if you're putting together the 23 top set series 2, I have a ton. If you guys need any, let me know.
Nice.
All right. So I got, send me a list. I can send them to you for nothing.
Yeah.
All right. That is about it, Drew. I think we got everything out of the way. There's not much auction news going on right now because I think all the auction companies are kind of we're waiting for the national, and I think we're going to see a flood of news from the industry in the next week or two. But that is about it for new releases and news. So that wraps up hobby happenings. We have I had the privilege and the pleasure of interviewing Pat Hughes. Pat Hughes played for the New York Giants and the New Orleans Saints during his time in the NFL. He played 10 years, and he was he went to Boston University. He was only on the only Boston University team that ever went to a bowl game. And he is a great signer through the mail. He signed a 73 Topps card for me. And we talked to Pat about playing in the NFL and his time in college. And he's a really interesting guy. So please enjoy my interview with Pat Hughes from the Giants and Saints.
This week's interview is brought to you by Certified Sports Guarantee, CSGcards.com for superior sports card certification and grading. The Certified Collectibles Group is playing to win. CGC Trading Cards and CSG are combining into CGC Cards, solidifying its position as one of the world's largest and most prominent card grading services. With the merger, collectors get a number of upgrades, including the option to submit without a paid membership, a Gem Mint 10 grading scale, a sleek new label, a simplified submission process, and prices you are going to love. Grade all your cards with CGC Cards and visit cgccards.com today.
All right, guys, we have a very special guest today. We're going to speak with Pat Hughes. Pat Hughes is from Everett, Massachusetts, and I'm a Boston guy, so we love to promote guys from the New England area. He went to Boston University in the 70s, 60s, really, the 60s, right, Pat? And
60s, yes.
60s. And he was a 9th round pick in the 1970 draft by the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants. He played for the Giants from 70 to 76. Then he was traded to the Saints. He played for them from 77 to 79. He captained the Boston University team in 1969 along with Bruce Taylor, and they led the Terriers to their only bowl game in the history of this school. So that is something. Pat Hughes is a linebacker by trade, but we're going to talk to him about just about everything. So welcome to the program, Pat.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You know what? We've talked a couple of times now. I'm so excited to talk to a fellow New Englander, and
Right.
You had a real tumultuous time from when you graduated high school to when you finally ended up at BU. You were kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah, it was. It got really confusing. I had signed a letter of intent to attend Ohio State University. Flew out there and was met at the airport by Woody Hayes, and taken immediately to the gym and said, well, stretch a little bit, and so I played some handball and did some other things with some coaches and other players and what have you, and so I was pretty well set to go to Ohio State. I had a 4-year full scholarship, room, board, books, and tuition. My dad, on the other hand, was getting letters from Paul Dietzel. Paul was the coach at West Point.
Yep.
And my father was a former Marine. And so Dietzel was playing on my dad's background and convincing him that the best place for me would be the United States Military Academy at West Point.
You're like, no, I want to go to Ohio State where all the girls are. I don't want to go to West Point.
Or at least some girls are, but as it turns out, my dad called Woody Hayes, told him I wouldn't be coming. Dietzel arranged for me to go to a year at prep school because I had missed the alternate appointment to the military academy, so they had to put me on ice for a year. So they sent me to Valley Forge Military Academy in Wayne, Pennsylvania, and where I played tight end. which was kind of strange. And my roommate was a young man named Jimmy Curtis. His father was Cactus Jack Curtis, the head coach at University of California, Santa Barbara.
Oh, wow.
And so Jimmy and I were roommates, and we got to talking about home and our girlfriends and one thing and the other. And one night, and we both looked at each other and said, "It's time to leave." I think I was there for like a month or 5 weeks or something like that.
You lasted 5 weeks longer than I would have, because I would have been out of there in about 15 seconds.
Well, we got under the fence, not over the fence, and got out onto the road and tried to figure out how we get to Philadelphia, because Jimmy needed to take a plane to California. I needed to take a train. And but we were like two kids on the road to the Wizard of Oz, right? We were skipping down the road and happier than clams.
I'm free.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was pretty neat. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife of today, of 54 years.
Well, then you made a good choice there.
Yes, I did. I was lucky.
You better choice a girlfriend than picking schools, I guess, right?
Exactly. But she had gone to Europe and bought me a watch there that was quite nice, but I had to pawn it because Jimmy needed money, I needed money, and so we went to a pawn shop in Philadelphia. I pawned the watch. I gave him what money I had so he could get his plane ticket. We both hugged, said goodbye. I got a train to Boston. He got a plane to Los Angeles, and we've never talked to each other since then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you haven't circled back and to find out what happened to him, or
no? I tried to at one point, and I just couldn't come up with it, right? But so I called my wife Carol and told her I was coming. She says they're looking for you.
You're AWOL.
Your parents called me and wanted to know if you had heard she had heard from me because myself and my roommate had run away. And Carol said, well, no, I hadn't. And so I told her not to say anything, that I was on a train from Philadelphia to Boston. And so got there, got home, and it was one of those situations where my father was greatly disappointed. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how it was received by your dad. He must have.
Yeah, he was, and years later we made up, and I apologized for it, but I apologized, but it was not would have done the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, you're an 18-year-old kid. How do you know what you want when you're 18, right?
Right, exactly. And so the one of the experiences I had before, I had gotten into several fights at Valley Forge with different people because I didn't understand hierarchy. I understood the law of the jungle,
being from Everett, Everett's not a soft place. It's a tough place.
No, it's not. And so I got called before the adjutant general, and he said, son, what seems to be your trouble, your problem? You're every week there's a new fight, or you're doing something to somebody. And I said, well, sir, I said, in all honesty, I said, this isn't the real army. You're not a real general, and I'm having a hard time playing make believe. And so
who would pick on you? You were a big kid. These guys must.
Well, it was multiple people, and at any given time, But so anyway, the poor general, he just lost all color in his face and what have you, and so when I got home, I started going back to some of the local schools, UMass Boston, Holy Cross, Boston College, because these were schools that were after me before I signed with Ohio State. And because I had gotten a letter from at that point, Vietnam was cooking on 12 cylinders.
Oh, I'm sure.
People were getting drafted, right? And I got a letter from the draft board, and then a note from the adjutant general that said, "Who's not a real general now?" I was called up for my pre-induction physical.
Oh, wow.
Which was, there was
That's
a lot
scary.
of pressure. Yeah, it was one of those times. And so Carol was going to Boston University at the time. And she went to the athletic director and she said, "You know that kid from Everett, Pat Hughes?" And they said, "Yeah, we knew of him." She says, "Well, I think if you called him, he'd come to school here." And they said, "Who the hell are you, lady?" And she says, "Well," she says, I do believe it. And so they called. And they came to the house. They said, "We couldn't give you a scholarship. You'd have to commute the first year." I said, "Will you get in touch with the draft board? Tell them I've been accepted and will be attending, and so that I can change my status from 1A to 2S or 4S, whatever it was at the time." And they said, "Yep, they'd do it." I said, "Then I'm yours." And that's how I ended up at Boston University.
And freshmen couldn't play then, right? Freshmen were not allowed to play at any
No.
NCAA school.
Yeah, no, we were used as scrimmage bait for the varsity, but we had a good group of freshmen like Bruce Taylor, Freddie Barry. There were some guys there that were really, good players. And so when we scrimmaged the varsity, I said, "It's all out war. We can't let these guys run over us," and we didn't, I remember one time they were practicing goal line offense, and I said, "If somebody lets them score," I said, "I'm going to kill you." And so we broke the huddle, and play after play after play after play, they couldn't score because we were just sticking them, and finally it was one of those deals. I said, "Let's let them in, because otherwise we're going to be here all night," and we let them score. But the freshman team that year was as good as that varsity team, and probably better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the team that ended up ultimately going to a bowl game, correct?
Right. The Pasadena Bowl, we played San Diego State, which they beat us, but it was the first bowl and the only bowl game, as you had mentioned, the only bowl game that the BU had ever played in football. And, since then they've dropped football, which is,
No, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a hockey school.
No, I know. Guys, if you haven't been to Boston University, basically the city of Boston is the campus. It's right on the Charles River. It's a beautiful school, but it is on the city is the campus.
Right.
As a 18, 19-year-old kid during the 60s, that must have been a really energized place.
Yeah, there was no question about it. It was, they were protesting the war in Vietnam. There was always a protest here or there. And the campus was, like I said, it was Boston, Commonwealth Avenue. They owned most of it from Kenmore Square up to Brookline. So
yeah, and they do even now. When I went to a Red Sox game last week, and I was marveling at how big the BU campus has been. It has grown incrementally, even for 20 years ago when I was down there.
No question.
You were drafted in the 9th round by the Giants, so you weren't you weren't definitely destined to play in the NFL. But when did you realize that, okay, I can play with these guys. I can play in the NFL. I can stick with these guys.
Yeah, I think in training camp where you begin to see players that you've heard about or watched or this that and the other thing, and what happened to me was there was an injury. Greg Larson was the center. He was a 12, 13-year veteran, a great guy. He got hurt. His backup, Chuck Hinton, was injured. And so I centered at Everett, played center and linebacker, right, and centered for punts, which I was doing for the Giants as a rookie. And so the coach, Coach Webster, Alex Webster, was the head coach that time. You know, Tarkenton came over and said, Pat, can you give me a few snaps, you know, without breaking my fingers? And so I snapped the ball up. And so Francis looked at Coach Webster and said, he'll do. And so all of a sudden I was made offensive center. I started, I think, 5 games
Wow.
in the exhibition. Yeah, it was wow. For me, it was wow because the first game was against the Packers and Ray Nitschke. And it was like, hey, kid, welcome to the NFL, right? And it was that kind of thing. And then the second or third game was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what was his name down there? One of the defensive tackles. I can't think of his name right now, but he grabbed me at one point and brought me into the defensive huddle, and the official had to come in and say, you know, you got to let him go. You got to let him go. And he said, no, he says, he was holding me. He says, I'm going to keep him. So eventually they negotiated my release from the defensive huddle of the Steelers and back into the other. But I started 5 games but always wanted to play linebacker. And I went back to linebacker after that 5th exhibition game. And, you know, and at that point I had an experience as a center with these other teams that said, you know, I can play with these people, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of neat that you had the versatility to do both. As you played inside linebacker, right? So you were calling up most of the defensive plays.
Yes, for a while. Yeah, I was. So it was, you know, it was one of those things that having gone through the exhibition season as a center and I was switched back to linebacker and you know, I made the team. They had the last cut. That was always, cutting days were always tough, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because
I would have had an ulcer.
You'd go back to your room after breakfast, and you had to wait there until like 10 o'clock or so because they'd send the ball boy up to your room. Coach wants to see you, bring your playbook. And so my Gary Inskeep, I remember him, was my rookie roommate. And we got a knock on the door, and in come the youngster, and I'm saying, no. And he said to Gary, Coach wants to see you, bring your playbook. And great conflict, right? Because you were sleeping,
right, it wasn't you, but your buddy's no longer with you.
Living with this guy for the duration, you know, and sharing everything and your challenges with them, and all of a sudden you're there and he's not, right? And but when he left with his playbook and everything else, I had a smile on me, like, you know, that you couldn't wipe it off my face.
Did you call your dad first? Did you call your dad first and say, Dad, I made it?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I did call him, and because we grew up watching the Giants, right, in New England.
Yeah, that was the team, right? That was before the Patriots.
Yeah, we had no Patriots, you know, but we had the Giants, and so it was living the dream for me, you know, to be the first time I walked out through the dugout and up onto the infield at Yankee Stadium in a Giant uniform. I mean, it was magic, pure magic. And, I mean, in my time there was just wonderful,
Was that your favorite place to play at Yankee Stadium?
That was it. Yeah, it was, because that's where I had grown up watching them play, right? And watched the Giant Colt game, which was called one of the great games of all time, 1957. The Colts score in overtime. Alan Amici scores, and beats the Giants in that playoff game, and from that point on, that's where I wanted to go, and so it was interesting. Just a quick funny story about the draft, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I stay home. I cut classes, stay home that first day of the draft, because of course the scouts call and say, yeah, you're going to be, you'll go early, yada, yada, yada. So I think the first day they went through 6-7 rounds, right? And no call, no nothing. And so I said to my mother, I said, I got to go to classes. I said, because I think football is not going to be where I'm going to spend time, So I said, I'll call you later in the day. So I go to class, early afternoon. I call my mother, and she says, oh, honey, you've been drafted. I said, by who, Mom? She says, by country? New York. I said, New York who? The Jets, the Giants, the Bills? And she said, oh. She says, well, I'm sure they'll call back. I was gonna kill her. It was one of those things. It was like, oh yeah. So
well, that's funny. It worked out. It worked out for the best, certainly. Did what, as a linebacker? Obviously, you were plugging holes and tackling all these running backs that were coming out. Who was some of the toughest guys to bring down for you?
Gale Sayers. Was one, Larry Zonka, but he was tough for everybody, and you had to get at least 3 guys on top of him before he'd go down. Calvin Hill, who came out of Yale, Dallas Cowboys, and there were a number of them. Larry Brown, Washington Redskins.
Yep. Who was your rival back then? Was it the Redskins or was it the Cowboys?
I think it was for us, anybody in the Eastern Conference, yep. Right? Philadelphia, Dallas, the others, and it's one of those things. I played on. I think there was just maybe 1 or 2 winning seasons in the 10 years that I was in the league, and it was.
Is it hard to play on a losing team? Is it harder to play on a losing team?
It's difficult, right? I mean, because you want to be in the playoffs, you want to be in the Super Bowl, you want to go here and there, and it's tough, and it's tough when you lose 2 or 3 in a row, and getting up for that next one, and
right. So you're playing in a physical game, and you're getting your body beat, and you're like, well, why am I doing this if we're going to lose 4 or 5 games in a row?
Yeah. And so that was, that was difficult, but you end up, I mean, it's a pride thing. You end up yourself at least saying that, well, I'm going to give the best I've got and work my ass off and try to make the change that we need to win. And so, everybody's got to make that decision, right? We went through a couple of different head coaches. Alex Webster was fired, and they brought up the fellow from Miami Dolphins, Bill Arnsparger, who was the genius behind the no-name defense down there that in Miami, when Miami, I think, went undefeated there one year. And so Bill came up and beat the living shit out of us at training camp. And we beat.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, right. Well, we beat everybody in the exhibition season, and then lost the first 6 games of the season because we were worn out.
Yeah, you guys were toast already.
Yeah. So, I loved being in New York. I loved playing for the Giants. The Saints, it was a wonderful experience for me. Dick Nolan, former Giant.
What led you to get traded from the Giants to the Saints in 76 or 77?
Well, I think there was a bit of a youth movement. There was some younger linebackers that were coming up, and it was one of those things that I was 30 thereabouts, and 30 versus 24, you get more years out of them, and then I had some situations with folks that just wasn't called for. But so anyway,
where did the Saints play? Because this was before the Superdome, correct?
No, it was the Superdome.
It was the Superdome. So
yeah.
Did you like playing in a dome or?
No, I didn't like inside. I don't like inside. The game is supposed to be played outside, where if it rains, it snows, or it's hotter than hell, you have to deal with it, right? Being in an air-conditioned building, just didn't make a lot of sense for me. I missed the outside. And the elements, because it was the same weather all the time,
Did you get to play against the Patriots at all? Did you get to play at Schaefer Stadium?
No, we played with the Giants. We played them. That's when they were playing at Harvard Stadium.
Okay.
I think it was an exhibition game or something there that we played them once, but I don't think we ran into them on either Giants or Saints during that time. So, but Archie Manning, the quarterback.
Yeah, Archie Manning was Archie Manning playing when you were at the Saints?
Yeah. He was the quarterback, and of course both of his sons there went on to become very, very good quarterbacks. He was a great guy. He was loved the South. I think at times, there was still some tension in the air around the Northerners and Southerners.
Okay.
But he was good people. So.
Were you a fan of Creole cooking before you went down to New Orleans?
No, I wasn't. But you learn pretty
all
quick.
That stuff is so good.
Yeah, exactly. That and po' boys. They were submarine sandwiches. You get a po' boy, and the food was just wonderful. The people, the fans were great, and we really enjoyed our time down there. We had, like I said, we've made friends that we've kept in touch with through the years. So.
You always forget, because we sometimes as fans we see the players as interchangeable objects, like a baseball card. You can just trade them to go send them to this team or this other team. So
right.
It must have been difficult for you, because you had spent so much time in the Northeast and the Giants to say, oh, now I'm going to New Orleans, but it seemed to work out for you.
Yeah, it did. Well, I think Coach Nolan, when Hank Stram was the head coach when I got there. He got fired that next year. Dick Nolan took over, a former Giant, and he was just a great guy. He'd say, "Patrick, am I going to have a hard time with you?" I said, "No, sir." I said, I'm going to be a good boy. And he said, "You better be." And I have a picture of he and I when I played my last game, because I had announced my retirement a week before we went out to Los Angeles to play the Rams. And one of my former teammates, Freddie Dreyer, was out there
Yep.
as the defensive end and stuff, and it was one of those things. It was just a wonderful experience. Both the Rams players and our team, my teammates, carried me off the field when the game was over.
Oh, that must have made you feel great.
Which I thought was just a wonderful thing. Freddie wanted me to stay. He said he'd arranged for a party, and I said, no way. No way, not gonna happen.
That has trouble written all over it.
Yeah,
right?
that has nothing but trouble written all over it. And so I said, I'm going home, and I said, that's it. But it was wonderful on the plane back to we played in Los Angeles. So on the plane back from Los Angeles to New Orleans, the pilot called me into the cockpit. And, he said, I was a fan of yours when you were up in New York and everything else. And he said, it's great to have you on there, And he said, but could you do me a favor? Could you guys stop dancing in the aisles? Right. He says, because I can't keep this plane going straight. So, because we were all in the back of the plane, and we were celebrating. I had my retirement party at 34,000 feet.
Oh, that's great.
And it was, it was one of those things. It was really great. Yeah, it was. It was one of those incredible experiences that because with both the Saint players and the Rams that picked me up after the game was over and started walking me off the field, and I was yelling, "Let me down, let me down." It was a wonderful sentiment, a nice way to end what I would consider to be a pretty good career, from that standpoint. So.
We're speaking with Pat Hughes. Pat Hughes played 10 seasons in the NFL with the New York Giants from 1970 to 1976, and from 77 to 79 with the New Orleans Saints. He was a linebacker. He went to Boston University. That's right, BU guys. He was drafted in the 9th round, the 221st pick, and he had a 10-year career in the NFL. We're talking to him a little about his career at BU and his time with the Giants and Saints. And we're going to talk a little collectibles right now, Pat. I sent you a card to sign through the mail, and that's how we connected. Do you get a lot of requests through the mail for autographs?
Well, I don't know what's a lot, but the cards are always coming, and I write the same thing on I write a note back thanking whoever sends the card, and tell them, it's a wonderful reminder of a magical time in my life, which is what it was. I mean, I still think back that did I really do that? Was that me? And so the cards, like I said, are a great reminder, and they come at certain times. There's a peak time where I'll get a bunch of them, and then they trickle through the rest of the year that way. But I always enjoy getting them, and always put the same thing on the thing. Thank you, and it brings back all the memories that I cherish from being with the Giants and the Saints. So,
were you a card collector as a kid?
I was. We used to shoot them, right?
Yeah, flip them. Yep.
Yeah,
against the wall, right?
Well, you get leanies, and
then you knock them down, and then you get them in the cards.
If you get them all, right?
Yep. I did the same thing, my friend. That's a New England thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it was like one of those things, and so I did. I love collecting them, and as a matter of fact, I have a number of them from way back. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, and so I think somebody sent them to me. I can't quite remember, but so I cherish them. My daughter did a great thing, because I used to give mine away, and if I had extra, or if I had, I'd send it back with my card.
Yep.
And so she finally said she got I think there are 4 from the Giants. There's 1 from the Saints. And she got 2 of each, and she front and back, she had it framed. And so, and she said, I'm going to lock this frame and you can't take these cards and give them away. And wonderful gift from my daughter. And because she realized that I just keep giving the cards away and I didn't have any.
You didn't have any of your own. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I have my helmet that I wore for the Giants. I have
nice.
the helmet I wore for the Saints. I have the helmet that I wore for Boston University, and and I have the one I wore in high school.
Oh wow!
Fun, yeah. So it was a leather helmet.
Wow, okay? That's awesome.
Leather, right? I was on a Zoom call, business call, and I could see the fella on the other side kind of straining. He said, "Is that a leather helmet behind you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm really that old. I played with a leather helmet, and actually that was probably the best helmet I wore, snug, no percussions, because the padding and the lacing inside the helmets were never really that good. And you'd break that lacing and your head would go right to the top of the helmet. And that
did you keep many game balls? Did you get many game balls from your playing days?
I have. Well, I got the Rams from the Saints. I got another one, a giant ball from the Saints. We beat them down there, and it was funny because Kelly, Brad Van Pelt, and Harry Carson, these guys were all yelling at me from the bench over, on the Giant side of the field.
Yep.
And it was a good give and take. But so I got a couple there, and it's probably 3 or 4 game balls that I've got that I cherish, as back when.
Did you collect any autographs? Did you get autographs from your teams or any of your opponents?
No.
It's a little different time now then, right?
Yeah. It was, back then, but the thing that for me, it was the things that like I have the jersey from high school, I have it from college, I have it from Giants, I have it from the Saints. And
did you frame them all up and put them with your card? Right?
No, they're hanging up in my basement. My wife, after a while, got tired of all of this football stuff.
That's what I get. See, I get one room.
Yeah, I see it. I like it. I'm gonna tell her after this that you got one room. I need a room, but
you deserve it.
What she says to me, she says, "You got the basement." I said, "The basement, the basement." But anyway, down there, I've got a lot of things that make me smile. So it's all good.
After you retired, what vocation did you settle in with?
Well, when I was in New York, in my second year there, I went to Wall Street. I used to do speaking. I was on the Speakers Bureau for both. Sure. Sports Illustrated and for the Giants, and so I met some folks and that were working on Wall Street, and I ended up working on Wall Street as an institutional trader for Purcell Graham and Company.
Oh wow!
Frank Graham went on to become the president of the American Stock Exchange, and but I was trading stocks institutionally for Purcell Graham, and so once the season was over, I traded my pads and helmet for a 3-piece suit, and I would commute from New Jersey to Wall Street, and I worked there, until, let's see, about a month before the training camp started. So I was down there about 3 or 4 months on Wall Street, and then when I retired, I shifted back into healthcare, and finished my career with Fallon Health in Worcester, Massachusetts. Sure. Fallon is a large player, and I was president and CEO at Fallon up until my retirement, which I think was in 75, 76, or not 70. Hang on. I got to get the dates right.
No problem.
No,
I have you with the Giants till 76, and then the Saints from 77 to 79.
Yeah. Okay. So no, see, I'm stuck in football. So it would be 2015. I retired in 2015. So
okay.
So that's kind of it. Was I was the CEO there from 2000 to 2015. So
did you play at the new Giant Stadium in New Jersey? Were you?
Yes, I did.
Was that truly a home field advantage? It seems like for the Giants that was a great place to play.
We got more people into the stadium, and so and the Giant fans are known for making noise. And so, yeah, it was, it was really, that was pretty amazing because the other thing about, I used to say this when I was speaking, I played for the only team in the NFL that had to travel through 3 states to lose a home game. So we were practicing in New Jersey, Jersey City.
Yep.
So through Jersey into New York, into Connecticut, play at the Yale Bowl, and come home under cover of darkness, But so that was tough because you just couldn't get settled in. The Yale Bowl was nice. The fans were great, but you weren't settled. You were practicing here, you were going there,
as a New Englander, that was the Patriots' problem for such a long time. They couldn't settle.
Well, sure, we played them at Harvard Stadium, and so it's you really need to put down some roots and be in a place that you can call home, right? And it truly is home, your exercise facility and all of the other things. So,
as a linebacker, did you prefer going against a pocket quarterback or a guy that was running all the time, like Fran Tarkenton?
Yeah, well, they presented more problems. I think a guy like Francis was problematic for linebackers, and so I was glad he was on our team, not playing against him. But I think that the pocket passers, you can get more pressure with rushing and blitzing and other things like that. So you didn't like the ones that ran around. Stay still.
I wouldn't think so. Is there, I asked this question because I heard Tom Brady get interviewed about a year ago, and somebody asked him, well, who gave you the biggest hit? Who knocked you out? And he remembers one guy, I think it was against the Bills. Is there somebody that you really gave a good hit to that you remember that you're sitting there in your easy chair and you're like, oh, remember when I gave that lick to so-and-so?
I have a picture of Larry Brown, who played, who was, used to embarrass me periodically in the open field. But I have a picture that he came out to block me, and I just caught him just right and turtled him, right, as we used to say, and he went back and landed on his ass. And he had this awful look on his face looking back up at me, and somebody got that picture. So like, where'd this guy come from? Yeah, right, exactly. And it was, it was really just great timing on my hitting him, and he lost his footing and turned upside down. So, but I still look at that picture and smile. So Larry, wherever you are, it's in my office at home.
You've brought joy to my life, Larry. We are speaking with Pat Hughes. Pat Hughes played 10 seasons in the NFL with the New York Giants from 1970 to 76 and the Saints from 77 to 79. He went to Boston University, where he is in the BU Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame, as he was played on the only team that made a bowl game, only football team for BU that made a bowl game in 1969. He is a great signer of cards through the mail. So guys, if you have a card you like Pat to sign it, send it off. He signs it with a smile. So Pat, I really appreciate your time today. It was great to reminisce a little and talk about your college and pro career and some of the things and some of the guys that you played with and against. So I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, it was fun.
Great.
You brought back all of those memories.
That's the idea.
That's what it's all about.
All right, my friend. You stay healthy and enjoy the summer up in Maine. Okay.
Thank you much. God bless.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye. Buying and selling sports cards has never been easier thanks to the free Collect app. With 1 million collectors on the app, you can find just about anything. Build your PC, sell off your cards for top dollar, trade up to get your Grail card. Are you new to the app? Don't worry about it. There's an option to check out with credit card, generate shipping and tracking, and use promo credits towards deals. Download Collects, that's Collects, COLLX for free on the App Store or Google Play. Drew, it's really fun because I've been sending out a lot of TTM requests, and we get a lot. I ask them all the guys if they want to be on the show, and I have 4 or 5 more guys that I'm going to interview still. So I really enjoy talking to the former players. Learning about you get the fun stories, you get the kind of the inside dope on it, and these guys are now they're in their 70s and 80s, so a lot of times they don't pull any punches. You know what I mean? They don't really care what they say because it's like, who the hell am I going to upset, right?
Yeah, they can dish on a lot more stuff. I mean, you talk to a guy nowadays, it's like, well, you don't want to say anything that's going to upset an opponent or anything in your locker room or anything. You get a guy who's in his 70s, he's been gone from that world for, 30, 40 years. He can go ahead and drop all that stuff on there because, I mean, hell, half the time the guys that he might be saying something about, they've already said it out themselves. So,
right. And it's fun because they love, it's nice to give them attention because they really formed a lot of the what's happening now in terms of the NFL and
right.
Major League Baseball. They really paid their dues and they didn't necessarily reap all the rewards that some of the players are getting now, so it's really fun to talk to these guys. So as I said, I think I've got 3 or 4 more guys. I got 2 NBA guys and a couple of more NFL guys that we will interview in the next coming weeks. So Stick around for that. All right, Drew, Saturday we have TTM Todd. He's a great TTM collector. Do you follow him on Twitter or on social media?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's a very good TTMer. So we talked to TTM Todd, so he'll be in Collector's Corner. Also, we got Les Wolf. Les Wolf looks back at the National. I interviewed Les yesterday, and of course, Les is Les. So we got his take on the National and all the things that happened in Chicago. That will be on Saturday. Next Wednesday, we have Larry Hand, who played for the Detroit Lions. I think he played his entire NFL career with the Detroit Lions. He's a defensive end. And we talked to Larry about his time in the NFL and signing autographs as well. Drew, anything else you want to add before I let you go?
I think we are pretty well covered on everything there. And hopefully, Saturday, I'll have some stuff to talk about, some TTMs and some trades and stuff. But it's been a pretty slow weeks for me right now. So glad you were able to cover it with all the national news, at least.
Yeah, I have a pile of cards that I have to put away. So that's what I'm going to be doing the next couple of days. So, all right, guys. Thank you, Drew. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Nice to get back. I missed you on Saturday. We'll have to, we'll get together next year. It won't be the National. It'll be the All-Star game. All right.
Exactly. Yep. Hopefully I'll be able to provide some stuff from the National or something then too. So
yeah. And you're going to take me to good places to eat too. That
exactly.
All right, guys. Saturday we'll have all our regulars, including our TTM stamp of approval, and make sure you send your Collects member ID to us, and we will get you a $10 coupon. And I think that's it. All right, guys. Wishing everyone many happy returns. We will see you on Saturday. Be good.